better get moving if you don't want to hear the shark. One of the fundamental questions that people have been asking since the advent of humanity is, what is our nature? Are we fundamentally good, kind, loving creatures? Or are we grasping, greedy, evil by our nature and only learn to take care of one another through our conditioning? So, the light side versus the dark side is a fundamental question of our existence. And what I think is really going on is, yes. Every person moves along a spectrum between what we call our better nature and what we call the dark side. Have you ever been driving along a dark road at night? You see a car coming toward you, it's just a little two-lane highway, and you're like overcome by this impulse, like, what would happen if... No, I'm the only one that's ever happened to, right? No. We also struggle with the question of, what is the meaning of our life? I mean, has anybody else ever thought, what's the point? Why go on? Why not end it? Is this really evil? Some spiritual people might say it's a fundamental desire to return to where we came from in the first place, which we believe is a better place. Other people say, that's a bunch of baloney, you're going to go on the ground and rot. But we move along this spectrum between our better nature, the part of us that wants to nurture and love, and care and share and cooperate and collaborate, and these darker impulses. So what is that? Quantum physics is learning, quantum physics is and has been exposing for many years now, some fundamental connections that support the idea of something that many people would call God. There's a fundamental, underlying, creative impulse and energy in the world that connects everything. Before the Big Bang was the entire universe, the actual matter, something like the size of a pea. What is all this stuff we see that we move through, in which we have our being? And how much of a connection, how much power do we have over that? In physics, there's no such thing as cold. There's heat and the absence of heat. When there's not enough heat for us to feel like it's warm, we call that cold, but it's really just the absence of heat. And there's really no such thing as darkness. There is no substance that can block light. There's light in the absence of light. So in our human nature, maybe, we know that love and fear are motivating factors in our behavior. But what is it in our nature? I think there's love in the absence of love. And the complete and utter absence of love, if there were any such thing, just as there's no such thing as a complete and utter absence of heat, is what some people might call evil. But we don't really see that. So in our day-to-day lives, we interact, we dance along that spectrum between the good impulses that we have and the kind of grittier impulses we have when somebody cuts us off on the freeway. I know it's post-sharp, but I'm not going to say it anyway. But we all know what we call those people. But what about when it's us? What about when we are the transgressor, when we are the one that is taking ourselves down? When we're dancing with our own shadow side. In every dance, there's a leader, and a follower. If my partner who is leading takes a step forward, I take a step back. He steps to the left, I step to the right. I step forward, he steps back. What is leading in your life? That's the essential question. I think the vast majority of us are led by our better nature, but it's always a question of balance. So, I don't really have any conclusions, except that I would like to encourage everybody, when you feel that darker impulse to come up, don't turn away. The only way you can dispel darkness is by shining a light in it. And what we find when we shine a light into that scary place of the unknown, where we're afraid to tread, is we just discover there's either pretty much nothing there, or we discover